Hey everybody, welcome back. The Gettysburg Address might be the most famous political speech in American history, but what's its connection to American democracy? Smash that like button to find out. The speech only contained about 270 words and was delivered in about 2 minutes, yet these brief remarks are among the most consequential in U.S. history, ushering in what some historians refer to as a second founding. Delivered on November 19, 1863, to dedicate a national cemetery on the site where the pivotal Battle of Gettysburg had been fought months earlier, President Lincoln's remarks connected the Civil War to the founding ideals of the nation, while highlighting the unfinished work that lies ahead. 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty, and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Importantly, Lincoln invokes the Declaration of Independence, not the U.S. Constitution, as containing the clearest representation of founding American ideals. Notice the imagery of the claim that this new nation was conceived in liberty, echoing the language of birth. The United States was brought into existence through the idea of liberty. Freedom, therefore, is one of the nation's defining purposes from the very beginning. This echoes the Declaration's assurance that all people have unalienable rights, including life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. For Jefferson, protecting these rights is the very reason that governments have been created. This sentence is perhaps even more notable because it elevates and reaffirms equality as foundational to American democracy, confronting the uncomfortable yet undeniable truth that Jefferson's beautiful promise that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, remained unfulfilled. Lincoln broadens the meaning of the war beyond preserving the Union, connecting it to the founding ideals of freedom and equality. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. We are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. Yes, this war is for the very ideals of liberty and equality described in the Declaration. Can the nation, conceived in liberty, survive this test? But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who have fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. The unfinished work Lincoln refers to can include the sacrifice and commitment to win the war, preserve the Union, and fulfill those lofty founding ideals addressed earlier. But Lincoln also refers to the great task remaining before us, and this goes beyond just winning the war. He calls for a new birth of freedom, in which the liberty and equality that the Declaration claimed were self-evident truths be more fully realized. Along with the Emancipation Proclamation and other writings, it was now becoming increasingly clear that a Union victory would mean the abolition of slavery, and with it, Lincoln hoped, the fulfillment of the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness that was promised to belong to all men 87 years prior. In these words, you can also sense Lincoln describing a civic responsibility. The founding principles don't just happen. They depend on citizens who are willing to defend and strengthen them. When we discuss MLK's letter from Birmingham jail, we'll see that same emphasis on active citizen engagement. Lincoln concludes with the oft-repeated plea that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth. This is popular sovereignty stated in perhaps its most eloquent form. People establish governments and consent to be governed for the purpose of protecting our natural rights. This ideal has perhaps never been more clearly expressed than it is here. And that's the Gettysburg Address. Considering it alongside the Declaration of Independence shows that although its ideals haven't been perfectly achieved, these ideas of equality, liberty, and popular sovereignty serve as a North Star towards which the nation continues to strive. Until next time, this has been a LaMoney production. Thanks for watching. If this video helped, be sure to smash that like button and to subscribe. And hey, if you're a student watching this in class right now, the next chance you get, make sure you subscribe too. And check out the Ultimate Review Packet. It has everything you need for test prep, but will also help you all year long in your class with tons of reviews, study guides, and practice for each individual unit. You can preview Unit 1 for free today. The link is in the description below, and I will see you in the next video.